Looks like we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going live on Facebook, so it will just be a minute before everyone hops on. Let me make sure we're going live on our Facebook page. So while you're hopping in, I would love to hear where you're coming in from and what experience you have with natural healthy living type things. Let's see. Go to, I think we're going live there too, maybe. Just trying out some new technology here, and you never know. Oh yeah, okay, so we are going live here as well. Let's see if we can get this streaming into our Facebook group. If you're not a part of that Facebook group, it's called the Wellness Collective. So you should be able to find that on Facebook. You can always reach out to me if you're not able to find that. And then we'll have to go live on our Zoom. So let me get on the right Zoom. Pretty sure there was a way to share this into. Things kind of change when you go live and you're in the middle of it, right? Well, we'll just keep it here. Super fun. Before people hop into the Zoom, they'll be coming on in about 4 or 5 minutes. And for those who are joining on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're watching the replay, please share with me what are some of your biggest concerns about your health, holidays, habits, natural ways to take care of your health. I have been kind of in this realm for the past 15 years and have found some real value in some more natural and holistic options. Really looking at the body as a whole is super helpful. Now, where's my Zoom? We're going to end that Zoom and start the real one. All right. The internet holds up for us, doesn't break, right? It's trying. Looks like we're live there too. Yay, I love this. So welcome, welcome. We're hopping in. I'm seeing some comments coming in. Lots of different platforms going on. So what would be your number one health concern that you would like addressed in this class? And I'll kind of repeat this. Will be, hey, Faye, you're hopping in with us. Yay. She's trying to get her audio on. We have people hopping in on the Zoom and you won't be seeing them. Hey, Faye. We're on live on Facebook and YouTube. So welcome. And welcome, Janice. December 4th.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like gonna cruise by.
End of the year.
Yep, we're heading into.
Let me tell people to hop on
To our Zoom. And there we go. Just checking my other places. What do we have here? So Janice, what have you been up to? You're like trying to unmute there, I know, like on your phone. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
Debbie.
Joanne, Debbie, Janice, Jen, Faye, Virginia's coming on. Are you all my West Coasters?
There, for some reason, it was giving me a problem.
You're like tapping on there and can't get it. All right. Well, 6 o'clock. Here we go. Yay, yay, yay. And I hope you're all on and able to share in the fun, especially for those who are on live. We want to make sure that we're covering things that are most applicable to you. I'm going to start the recording just in case we have backups here.
Recording in progress.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. December 4th, 2024. Not too many more days until we're into 2025. That's like a quarter of 2000 is like, that's crazy how fast that goes. So welcome to tonight. We are diving into healthy habits for the holidays, and this can go many different directions depending on what you guys want to share, what's helpful, as well as some things that you might want to start working on right now. Because I know like a lot of people are think, once the holidays are over and they move into January, then you're like, okay, I'm going to revamp. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Right. And then for most of us on here, or over 25, that we've experienced we have these big goals and then sometimes they don't pan out. And I think one of the things that I've at least discovered in my 50 years of living, and some of you have way more experience and things to share.
Way more.
Not by age, but just like literal, like you have great experience and things to share. That for me, it's just really coming down to habits. Like our life consists of habits, whether those habits serve us over time or they don't serve us over time. Like you see that, especially at our age, like how they've played out in different ways, positively or negatively. And I was just thinking about, I was in my car and I was thinking about, like what if my habit was that I swished with sugar water every morning, right? Like initially that wouldn't be a big deal, but over time, like if that was my day in, day out, morning and night, I'm swishing around sugar water, it's going to cause some problems. But if my habit is instead, I'm brushing my teeth or I'm oil pulling or whatever some people might do, right? It's not going to change your life overnight, but that consistent habit you're going to see the results of that. So moving into the holidays, just wanting to get in place habits that can serve us. And many of you have been on, and we've talked about foundational wellness and how important that is. So we're going to kind of dive into some of that. But before we begin, I would love for you to share either in the chat or share, unmute. What are some of your biggest concerns over the holidays as far as physical, emotional health? Looks like you have some friends there. If they want, they're welcome to share too, Jen. Janice, did you have?
Well, this doesn't exactly pertain to the holidays, but I did want to ask, I think it was it your husband that started using black spruce for his high blood pressure?
Not my husband. Was it?
Oh, well, Elise
Elise?
started using Shinrin Yoku on her husband. Okay, I thought it was the black spruce. It was Shinrin Yoku. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm sorry to take time for this, but do you remember how long she said that it took for it to start working for him?
I know she was just kind of tracking that, and it didn't seem like it took too long because she said, like, here's where he started using it, and then you started seeing those numbers start to change.
Okay, well, I had the wrong one in my head, but I will.
Well, and I think she was using Shinrin Yoku, but we were talking about black spruce at the same time. And one of the things it talks about with black spruce is it can help with blood pressure. So if you have it, you might as well be testing it out, right?
Right. Well, that's what I've been using because I thought that's what she said. And so I haven't noticed anything except high blood pressure and along with my blood pressure medicine. So, okay, I won't take any more of the time because I know this wasn't what what this was about.
No, you're totally fine. No, we're here to serve, right? You guys jump on. We want to make sure that we're covering things that are most important to you. And again, along with that, like the habit of it, like what's the habit of it for blood pressure? What are those things that can help support healthy blood pressure that are little things? Like, I think those are the things that are sustainable is when we're talking about small, simple things over time that we can commit to doing. Not these big things for a burst of time that is not sustainable. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
The new E Omega Plus, I think it's called, is also really good for lowering blood pressure.
Yeah, let's jump into those things because I think we'll see if we can tie those to what are your health goals and how we can kind of break it down into simple things that can help over time. So let me find one of these screens. So I have, with my streaming into YouTube and Facebook, I'm in this uncomfortable phase. Like I've run Zooms forever and sharing and doing these things. And now I'm adding on like some new technology. So I'll tell you, I'm uncomfortable. So like, it's okay to be uncomfortable. And like, okay, maybe they're not even hearing. I see some people like, maybe can't hear and my audio might not be set up. So, we'll do better next time. Let's see. Even my share button has disappeared. It's got to be here. We got this. There we go. Share one of 400 screens. And I did, how many of you took advantage of some of those Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever deals? Anyone get anything good? I have a good monitor coming that's going to be bigger. And so I'll have like the laptop and a bigger one. And on my end, I will feel more comfortable being able to have it all out instead of like hiding behind things. So, okay. So foundational wellness, let's jump in there. And anytime, like you have anything to share as far as these are your experience, because I know we have many people on who have experience with essential oils, natural things, healthy habits, nutrition, like we have great experts on. So please feel free to share if something like pops into your head and you're like, hey, what about this? So foundational wellness, thinking about some of the keys to health, healthy organs, healthy organ function. One of the main things is being able to reduce toxic burden and also bringing in nutrients that meet our needs, right? And so nutrition, it really highlights a crucial truth for the body to heal itself. Its organs must be functioning optimally. And that requires the body to receive, essential vitamins, minerals, nutrients. So, we were just mentioning high blood pressure, thinking unless, this was something from infancy, probably not, that our bodies often know what to do, right? And so it's like, how can we take care of it longer and in a way so that it will continue to function how it knows how to function? And if we neglect some of the basic things that we know, then that's where we're going to start seeing that breakdown. But also being aware that, the nutrients in our food, obviously because of soil nutrient depletion, depleting nutrients from our soil, sometimes it just makes it a little bit harder to get some of those nutrients. And so, how can we be aware of that with our food? I know a lot of people are starting to eat organic, or they're growing some of their own food, or they're going to farmers markets. Like some of these things, these really are little things that we can do that can have a big effect over time. You're not going to like have transformation like in a day from eating organic or going to the farmers market. But if you're getting in that habit of, I'm going to try to supplement what I'm eating with like really good food, that's going to be helpful over time. And so again, for those we always kind of talk about this wellness pyramid. It's like drill it into our heads. I hope that we're trying to drill it into our kids' heads, the people around us. I was just on a phone call with my brother, whose wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. And like it's a very aggressive form. She's already just recently had a double mastectomy, and they're kind of going through that do we do what the doctors are recommending with chemotherapy? And then my brother has just been researching, reading, right? And then he's like, I don't know if I trust like pharmaceuticals now. Like he was like all into it, but now through his research, he's like, I don't know. I don't even know if this is true. And then I see the side effects, and then I'm thinking quality of life. Like anybody ever been in that stage where like, I don't know what to do? Like, I just want to know like truth so then I can make a educated decision. And so he has, a different feeling about it than his wife, which is fine. Like we all have to kind of come to our own conclusions and make our decisions that we feel comfortable with. And a lot of things, like I've been preaching for the past 15 years, like to my family and whatever. And he's like, yeah, I like nutrition. Like this is something that's been going on for years. Like it's building up. All of a sudden you don't just have cancer, right? That these are things that build up over time. And then he's like, and exercise, like everything that I'm reading in here just talks about exercise. And he's one that runs like lots. And he just didn't know, he knew he felt better. He just didn't know like all of the other things, like the impacts on emotional health and as well as your physical health and how it just helps with like metabolic health, like all of these things. Like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know. And so he's like pretty sold on that. But also you get in that fearful state, like, will this really make an impact? Or should we go this way? Or are you doing it out of fear? Like, and so that's why I kind of feel like the more we can become educated and have confidence in our body's ability, and also know that I don't think you're ever going to go astray by trying to take care of some of these lifestyle things in our life. Like you're not going to be worse off because I'm getting like good nutrients and I have good digestion and I'm, have a good healthy metabolism and I'm managing my stress. Like you're not going to be worse off, right? And I'm not saying that's going to be the cure-all for everything, but you're just not going to be worse off if you are right now. Maybe you're super healthy. Maybe your kids are super healthy. Implementing these habits right now is only going to have benefits long-term. And if you're struggling with something, again, it's not going to hurt you to start working on these habits, right? And I think now we really do need to be educated on some of these. So like my sister-in-law's oncologist said, it's pretty much showing that 50% of women are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Well, maybe in your realm, but I'm going to do all that I can to avoid that. And not saying like you can do all the right things and things don't happen, but I'm going to try to control the controllables for myself. Right. And so that's why I think realizing some of these habits, and as we're going into, holidays, and maybe holidays aren't your big stress, but for a lot of people, they are, also helping your loved ones be exposed to like habits, right? Habits are doable, not this big diet, not this big training regimen, not this big, like it doesn't take big changes. It's like these small and simple things can bring really big results if we're consistent over time with them. And also choosing the ones that are going to have more impact than others, right? Because I could choose something that has very low impact and be consistent with it, or I could choose something like nutrients or supplements and digestion and certain habits around that are going to have a bigger impact over time, right? So it's like, where am I going to spend my time? So as we've shared before, that like nutrition, let's focus on that. Let's just get some basic habits in, and that, we're going to talk a little bit about, doTERRA's products with that. And then also just really realizing that 9 out of 10 most impactful risk factors are tied to poor nutrition. So how can we not be like, okay, we're going to be talking about healthy over the holidays. How can we not be talking about nutrition? And this is not just physically healthy. This is emotionally healthy. This is like mental health. This is cognitive health, like all of that. We do better emotionally when we're taking care of our physiology and all of that, right? So I'm probably preaching to the choir, but for those watching the replay, and then just being mindful, like sometimes it's like, oh, I'm healthy, but most of us, 95% of us are deficient in vitamin D, vitamin E. And then you see some of these other ones, like these are necessities for our bodies. And if we're having a deficiency, and if it's a chronic deficiency, you're going to start seeing the breakdown of things over time, right? Whether that's physically, emotionally, if it's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, whatever that saying is, like that is what happens in our body. Nutrients will go somewhere. If there's only a limited resource, there's maybe other places that are being neglected and over time. So just want to be mindful of that. And then also what happens when we do have nutritional deficiencies, that sometimes you'll see food cravings that will come because of these deficiencies. Your body is an incredibly complex system that always is trying to attain balance, right? That homeostasis. And so just being mindful of, like, if you're having food cravings through the holidays, that is a trigger, like that should trigger your thinking of, like, I wonder what I really need. Is it a physical nutrient need that I need? Is it an emotional, something I'm missing? That cravings, especially of any type, generally are just your body saying something to you. It's trying to communicate with you. And sometimes when we're so busy through holidays that we can forget to listen, right? To take time to listen to, what is it that I need? What is it that my family may need? Because we're so busy in things that may not be that important, but I know for some of us, we just love, we love like traditions and want to take care of things and have it beautiful and a wonderful, magical time, right? So just be thinking about that along with cravings, and some of the other things you can see with the conditions that come up or worsen because we're deficient in nutrients. And I won't cover that.
Can I
Yeah.
just
Yes.
add something?
Absolutely.
Like with cravings, now we have to also take into consideration that cravings can be coming from our gut and the microbiome in the gut, which I find fascinating, right? Because we used to just attribute it to, oh, that's me, that's just what I like, or, I don't know where this craving is coming from. But to me, that just reminds us that we do have to take care of our gut, because so much stems from that.
And I like that you bring that up, and it's kind of a different way of thinking about. So our gut, our microbiome, like we have all of these microorganisms, this universe that we need, that like these bacteria and other microorganisms that help us. They might synthesize or create nutrients that our bodies need, but we also provide things for that. And so I hadn't even thought of that, how if we're not feeding our microbiome the things that it needs, then we might have cravings.
Well, or because of the food we are putting in our bodies, it causes certain bacteria to multiply, right, to grow based on those foods versus other ones, right, that would have you crave something else. So it has, like, the food we eat influences what bacteria grow in our gut.
Yes. And I like it's like a totally different world. Like I just remember, whatever, 15, 20 years ago, walking to the doctor and like, hey, you have this infection or this sinus infection, whatever it was, right? Here's an antibiotic, and have no idea, like zero idea, like the impact that might have on like my body. Like, what exactly is that doing? And I almost relate like antibiotics to like chemotherapy. It's like, it's going in and killing stuff, which can be good, but it can be bad, right? And so killing the good stuff, harming the good stuff, putting and then when you, like you're saying, that then we might eat things that can feed the bacteria that we don't want growing, right? And it creates this imbalance, which then can create even more cravings. Yeah, and you can get in this terrible cycle, right? And along with that, just thinking about how 70% of your body's immune system dwells in the digestive tract.
Yeah.
So maintaining digestive health is crucial just for overall well-being. And also your digestive system plays a role in your overall health, in the fact, like, yes, we want to be able to break down those nutrients, be able to absorb those nutrients, but then also thinking about the impact that it has emotionally, right? That a lot of the neurotransmitters are made in our gut. And so it's going to impact our mental health, our emotional health. Yeah, it just, the more we can see our body as a whole and seeing that it's not just one siloed system, right? And so that's like the conversation that I was having with my brothers, that like healthcare is so siloed, right? Because you have like a specialist here and a specialist here and a specialist here, and you don't understand. And maybe they do, but they're in their lane. And so that's when he was talking about, well, what about the quality of life? Like all of these side effects after, right? Like, let's just say this helps make the cancer not come back. But what's the quality of life? And that's not necessarily the biggest concern for the oncologist, right? Because that's not their specialty. Yeah. So the more we can see ourselves as this whole, and that's why these different habits that we can bring into our life, wherever the wellness pyramid goes, oh, it's the other way. These are just basic things that can help holistically our whole body, no matter what we're dealing with, can really help us to feel better, look better, live better, right? So some of those basic ones, drink water. But this is not just water, right? So now we have to all be concerned about, like, I used to, I grew up in a small town, oftentimes like well water, it's clean water. Like we didn't have a lot of the chemicals and the things that we're exposed to. And we didn't even have plastic bottles. I always laugh, like, why is somebody buying a water bottle? Like, what is that? And then I understand, like, oh, you never know what's in your water. But now we understand that those water bottles, when they're heated up, that plastic gets leached into that water bottle, and you could be drinking like toxic chemicals, right? So now we're like, okay, it's not just drinking water, it's drinking clean water. So if nothing else, like that would be one simple habit to focus on. If you can't afford like the home filter, like all your water is clean, it could be that you're just getting like a good quality filter. But I know, Amy, you were just mentioning about your was it your Berkey water filter? That there was something in that. So again, like we want to drink clean water. What that takes in your area, where you live, with what, budget you have, just be mindful of that. And that's why a lot of people are using, putting their water in a water bottle. Besides, we're not wasting a bunch of plastic water bottles or not knowing what I'm drinking from tap water. That would just be one small habit to focus on. I remember 15 years ago that's the first habit that I started working on, was getting rid of our Kool-Aid, because we never drank anything that wasn't flavored with sugar or something and colored. Like that's what I grew up on. And so that was like a really simple switch out. And then it became like, well, I'm not going to drink my fruits. I'm going to eat my fruits. Right. And so it's just little things over time that can make a bigger difference, because if I'm eating my fruit, the whole thing with the fiber, then I'm not getting so impacted by like high dose of sugar, even if it is fructose that's coming from a fruit. Right. So it's like these little things, like what can I do without being overwhelmed? And it's easy. Like if you just pick one, like this is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to have this goal of drinking more water. That could be like the habit through the holidays. And when you drink more clean water, you actually have less cravings. Your body is lubricated better. So a lot of times joint pain will be reduced. Your cells aren't kind of hoarding that water and having some water retention. It helps to flush things out. I mean, there's just so many benefits of it, right? And then just looking at some of these other habits, increasing your fruits and vegetable intake. It might be doing things to support your microbiome, whether that's not giving it things that are going to be bad for it and doing things that are going to be good for it. And we'll talk about, what doTERRA has, and moving your body. Like that's free. It would just be like walking. In fact, I was just reading a study, and I can't remember, I think it was on cardiovascular health. I'm not sure why doctors aren't prescribing exercise, because it's a 50% reduction in cardiovascular problems if you are getting, I think it was like 10,000 steps. And they said even 8,000 steps. And there's not a drug out there that will do that. but you'll go into the doctor and they'll give you a drug instead of saying, well, I'm going to prescribe you exercise. I'm going to prescribe like walking. I'm just saying movement, right? Moving your body. So maybe instead of like having your groceries ordered, you're actually going to the store now and you're going in the aisles like we used to in the old days, right? Maybe it's like walking around a farmer's market. Maybe it's parking farther away and walking in. And maybe it's taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Maybe like one of my habits is I do squats when I brush my teeth. If you can't do squats, maybe you're just like, I'm doing a little bit of high knees or I'm walking around while I'm brushing my teeth. These are little habits that we can be putting into place, that there's not going to be like that huge downfall if you continue to do those over time, right? So preach, you guys. You guys are awesome. So that's really where doTERRA's foundational wellness products have come in to play. doTERRA isn't just an essential oil company, it is a wellness company, but almost everything that they have is infused with essential oils because we're finding the power of that combination. So I think most of you, and tell me if those who are online, if you haven't been exposed to the new VMG, which is basically your vitamins, minerals, and greens in a little packet. You just drink it with a little bit of water each day. But they also infuse wild orange in there. I don't know how it's done. Like, I don't know how. But the form of this, like your body actually absorbs more of it. And so you're getting more bioavailability. It's easier for your body to absorb the nutrients that are in here. It can help offset, and this isn't a replacement of like, oh, now I don't have to eat fruits and vegetables or anything like that, but this is to supplement, to make sure that we're covering the bases of what our bodies need. And sometimes when like we're going through something, it's okay to like, I've done it where I've taken one in the morning and one at night. So I'm like, I know my body needs more because it's going through something right now. Right. But so it's supplement, it's not replacement. And along with that, any questions about the VMG? Anyone on who has used this, experiences with it?
Well, I'm taking it, Joel's taking it, and our 26-year-old is taking it. And it's just so simple. I just mix it up, drink it, use that to take my other supplements like the probiotic you're going to talk about, the E-omega. And even though it's so simple, I just feel like my energy, my cognitive functioning is just even and like just like, more. It's not like energy like you're, buzzed, ready to do something. It's just like this sustained feeling that it's working. It's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Anybody else used it, tried it? I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would echo what she said, that I use it to take the MetaPower Advantage collagen supplement as well. And another influx of more new hair growth coming in dark instead of gray.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of fun. But it's hard to describe the difference between like the LV, the old supplements, and the current one, but it really was just that feels better, almost a calming, it's like putting on some well-worn pants or shoes that just fit right. It's
like
that kind of a thing. I did have a doctor's appointment last week and my blood pressure was down. I don't really have a high blood pressure problem, but I'd been orbiting around, like about 126/90 or something. And I was at the doctor the other day and it was at 116/, I think it was 84, just took it down.
And that's awesome because
Yeah.
what most people experience as they age is the slow creeping up, right?
Mhm. I was getting a little of that. I mean, not to the point
Yeah.
where any medication was even being discussed, but this just was it.
Yeah.
Right back down.
And people think that that's normal. So I love that, like, you're not 25, but
Not this
like,
week.
no, not this week. But thinking like most people's experience isn't that, right? They're used to going into the doctor, some kind of checkup, and it's like, oh, we're gonna watch this because it's kind of going, those things. And so that's amazing that we can do small things like ripping that thing open and putting in some water and drinking it is not hard, right?
No.
And if you don't have your health, especially as you age, you realize how important it is. Like, so if I had to choose like where my money was going, it's going to go to things that are going to help me to feel healthier, my family to feel healthier, because I know those are important to me. Like I've seen like the one side where it's, you don't feel well when you have an experience, you're like, oh my gosh, how valuable is your health? So, BMG, huge. And my son, so he's young and he's been consistently taking this. Like I just need to finish up my boxes of Lifelong Vitality. And so then he switched over and started taking this. And he's the same way. He's like, I just feel like good. I can't explain, like there's no measurable something. I just feel good. And then I think a lot of people around here have had probably COVID. I don't know, something, but a lot of people, not testing it. So you don't know, you're just like sick. And I have this group of people who like don't really do anything for their health as far as like proactively, doing things, exercising, eating well, taking supplements, whatever. And he is in this group of friends, and some of them it's lasted several weeks that they haven't been well. He calls me like, I just mean my mom. I don't feel good. I've been around like whatever, and I just don't feel good. And so in his mind, he's worrying about, oh, am I going to be out like this? I'm going to have finals. I'm going to have this. And I'm like stressed. I just do my mom. And I'm like, have you been taking your supplements? Have you been doing the things? Like, yeah, I'm consistent. That's the one thing, even though I haven't been eating as much because I'm like wrangling around in college. And he's like, can I just have a massage? And so I give him like a aroma touch massage. He goes and takes a bath, Epsom salts, just kind of like the rest, relax. Your mom's taking care of you. And literally he wakes up the next day and he's going about it. Like it was crazy. And it's like, I was feeling like I'm sleeping in a room. My roommate is sick. And I just know the power that comes when we feed our body what it needs. Like it's just miraculous what it can do. Like we have immune systems that are built in that can work really well to fight off things, whether that's fight off faster or don't get things, or just it doesn't take so long if we're like worrying about that, focusing on that, doing the things that we can do, like control the controllables. So I'm not going to go into all the little details about everything in there. You can go on doTERRA.com, and if you want to geek out on lots of stuff, feel free to do that. So let's see, do we on here? I don't think so. Has lots of superfoods, lots of good stuff, has essential oils in it, yada, yada, yada. And liposomal technology. I'm not going to go into any of that, but I do want to just briefly talk about the omegas and the PB Restore. So the omegas, I did. I saved one to show everyone. Has anybody tried these big humdingers?
Yeah, I swallow them.
Just swallow that. It just goes down clean and smooth. And for everybody else, you can chew them. They do have sustainably sourced fish that's in the Norwegian Sea, and we work directly with those. Or what are they called? Fishermen? Are they fishermen?
Yeah.
I'm like farmers, fish farmers who actually
Well,
get
they're
them.
Not farmers, because they're catching it wild.
Wild,
Yeah,
yes.
Fish
wild.
farmers. There are fish
Farmers.
farmers.
Okay, so fishermen.
Yeah, that's right.
Are fishermen. And I love that. I love knowing the source of things that I'm using, right? Because a lot of times we buy stuff on Amazon and we're like, I have no idea where this came from. Like, I know it's from China somewhere. Not sure. Like, it's been sprayed with chemical. Like, I have no idea, right? But this, at least, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know, we can trace exactly where it came from, the fish that they're using, and then that it's tested to verify what's in here, right? And then they combine that with wild orange, which has shown that we have a greater absorption of it, more utilization of it. It helps it so it doesn't go rancid, which a lot of omega like fish oils that are on the market, you take them and either they don't have what's the claim is on there of EPA, DHE, or it's rancid. Anyway, so I love these, and just thinking about how these help. And you were talking about like blood pressure, cardiovascular health, but heart health, brain, cognitive function, inflammatory response, digestive system, immune system, skin. Like there's just so many things that our bodies need, and most of us are just not consuming that, especially American diets. Maybe if you're in the Mediterranean or whatever, I just don't consume enough food that have the omegas in it. So I for sure have to supplement. So just be mindful of that. And then moving on to like the probiotic. It's in there. So doTERRA's PB Restore, which came out, was that last year or the year before? I can't remember. Last year? Last year. Yeah, and I love this, and a lot of the research that's being done, outside of doTERRA, as far as we know we need to feed our microbiome, but what we've traditionally been doing to do that, most of us don't eat the types of food that have those prebiotic, probiotic, postbiotic, like most of us don't consume those types of food or enough of them. And then a lot of the probiotics, most of the probiotics on the market, that they are not getting down into the intestine where we need those, right? And so that's why I love that they've used technology to create this product that kind of covers a lot of the problems with probiotics and prebiotics and all that. Because I used to just think, oh yeah, eat yogurt, right? Like that was kind of thing. Eat yogurt. If you go take antibiotics, just then make sure you eat some yogurt. And I tell you, that caused me problems. Like that was not the thing. So it'll tell you all the different strains and yada, yada. If you want to dive into science, again, you can go onto doTERRA. They actually have like some actual educational trainings on this if you want to geek out on it. But this is like that foundational wellness bundle that covers nutrient deficiencies, nutrition, digestion, things that our bodies really, really need, like the biggest blocks down on the bottom, right? So that'd be the number one habit that I would say, like if nothing else. And if you're not using doTERRA's, find something, right? But you need the vitamins, minerals, the greens, the omegas, the probiotic, prebiotic, all of that. It's something that will help set you up to be healthier longer. And that's what I want. Okay, any questions about any of that? And then we're going to kind of dive into just tell you that we do have a 4-week win, it's called, to help with some other habits besides just a nutritional type habit. And I do want to dive into frankincense a little bit. Any comments, questions, or anything to add? Okay. So daily routine. No. So there is something, if you want to participate in this, if you get like the foundational wellness bundle, like I think most of you already have a doTERRA account that you can order that. It's actually cheaper if you order it all together as a bundle, but you don't have to. You can just purchase the VMG if that's all you want. But it does come together, and we have what's called the 4-week win. And this is a program that you can have access to if you have this bundle that doesn't just focus on this one habit, but it helps to implement some other habits with our morning routine that helps create an amazing morning to start your day. Because the whole concept, and there's been research shown on this, if you have like a win, some type of success early on in the day, then your whole day goes better. Whether that's psychologically, like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing well, or just because you set your day up right, that you're in that place of having more wins throughout the day. And so this is helpful for creating that morning routine that will set you off for an amazing day. It will also help to set up a night routine that will help you with sleep and some of the challenges that a lot of us are dealing with because our bodies heal as we sleep. And so if we're not setting ourselves up right, that we could be missing out on some of those opportunities for our bodies to be healing and cleansing. And that can take a toll over time. Again, just these little habits. And then another thing is, especially being able to overcome overwhelm, like all of us probably have way too much to do or feeling just like the weight of so many responsibilities. And so the week 3 really focuses on how to manage that in such a way that you are feeling accomplished and not feeling overwhelmed. And that over time, like you can look back and be like, my life, like I'm accomplishing things. I'm doing things. Life is good. I can see that I'm making progress, right? So that's week 3. And then week 4 is helping you to learn how to break a bad habit. And really it's learning that skill so that it can be like, well, I'm going to first start with this one, maybe as a smaller one, but learning that and seeing for yourself that, oh my gosh, this thing that I've been struggling with so long, I'm finally feeling like I have more control. Like I'm seeing progress in this and I don't have that habit anymore. And I'm seeing these positive habits. And then that can move into something else. Like now I want to work on this. And so this 4-week win is not just about like taking doTERRA products. It's about creating a life that has these simple habits in it that will set you up for success. And I don't think it's just for us, but as we do that and as we model that, we have an impact on other people's lives as well, whether that's family members, friends, that we can have a bigger impact as we feel well physically, emotionally, feel well and whole, feel good about ourselves and kind of the direction our life is taking. And I know that sometimes as we age, we're like, oh, only downhill from here. And I hear this from some people, like just that mindset of like, oh, it's just downhill from here and it's just going to get worse and like, blah, 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 right? And it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. And so that's what this 4-week win is. So whoever invited you to this, if that you want to participate in that, you just need to reach out to them because they can give you access to how to get involved in that. And it's a perfect time to do it. You might think like, oh, I didn't want to add this during the holidays, but honestly, it's so simple. It's not like overwhelming. It's super simple. And when you start seeing yourself doing little things, your belief in yourself goes up. Your confidence goes up and just your overall well-being, it goes up when you start seeing yourself keeping commitments with yourself. And these are not hard things. It's like, take a sip of water. It's not hard. Anyway, so just be aware of that. Any questions about that before we kind of jump into frankincense, since there's that promo this month? Okay. Let's dive into frankincense. I don't think anyone is new here with oils. Like everybody used oils before.
Yes, Stacey, I have a question.
Yeah.
So this 4-week when does that start or how does that work? How do you?
So it's self-paced. We will probably be having a challenge to do it together in January, but you can access it right now.
Okay.
So just talk to Faye and she can give you access to that. And it's awesome. It's super simple, but awesome.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Now, Stacey, you're further along in the 4-week win than I am, but I know that it's meant to go along with the foundational wellness bundle. What if you don't have all the products yet? Are you missing out on stuff or it still works? Like
that is just a very small piece of it, right? Because it focuses on like health, but it also focuses on some other things, like some of those things that I explained. It's kind of your ticket in. So when you have that bundle, because this has been something that like people have put together to create this as a resource for you as you're trying to work on these habits, right? And so Faye, you can determine if someone like, well, they just have this part, or they're still using lifelong vitality, but they want to start this, right? Like you can decide that. You have access to be able to give them access. Mhm.
Right. But it really is based on supporting foundational wellness.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And so the
Because it's
first
like-
week that you do it, it will be talking about a little bit about that. But here's the thing, like that habit, that piece of this puzzle is so easy. Like if you receive this in the mail, basically all it is set it in your kitchen and in the morning, do it. That's it. Right. But there will be other pieces of this that you will have to be thinking like, hey, where do I want to focus? What do I want to do? Like, what's my morning routine consist of? And they'll give you some ideas, but you need to decide what those are in some different little aspects. And so this is a small piece of it, but also we want to be feeding our body the nutrients that it needs. We want to be like feeling as well as we can, right? As we're also working on these other things. So this is only going to help be able to implement the other things that we're doing there, right? Yeah. Okay. So frankincense. How many of you, and I would love to see faces on here because I think some of you, I mean, have experiences with frankincense. Anybody listen to Dr. Hill and Justin Harrison's event on Monday? So Dr. Hill is one of the owners of doTERRA and really one of the 3 beginning owners of doTERRA who has had years of experience with essential oils, essential oil chemistry, body, how they function. Like we would go to meetings with him and they would be all day long. And they were just like in depth. For some people, they're falling asleep. For others, like, oh my gosh, give me more, right? The frankincense really is the king of oils. And why we're kind of talking about this month is every December since doTERRA has been in a business that they have had this 200 PV, 200 product value promotion that if in December you purchase 200 PV, they're going to give you a free bottle of frankincense. But why is frankincense so awesome, right? So frankincense, for those who don't know, come from a resin of a tree, the Boswellia tree over in like the Middle East, right? And it's been something throughout history that we've heard of frankincense resin, that there's a frankincense trail of people that were taking the frankincense and taking it into Egypt and selling it, like very, very valuable. But why? Like, what is this? Why do we care? And some really great stories with doTERRA as far as how they've come to get the kind of frankincense that we have. Because initially, doTERRA wasn't really aware of where this was all coming from, right? And so a few years ago, Dave Sterling, one of the owners, Emily Wright, they actually flew into Somaliland to meet with these tribes. And these are like warring tribes. They're not friendly to each other, but they're all growing frankincense in their areas and trying to bring them together to protect the frankincense that is being grown. Because in the past, a lot of perfumers would come in and want the frankincense, and they didn't really care about the people or the land or these trees. And so a lot of the frankincense trees were being ruined because they were over harvesting, just doing practices that weren't conducive to sustainability, which, in the end would really hurt these growers of the frankincense. So doTERRA was trying to meet with them, gather them, like, let's work together. And they even paid some to not harvest frankincense, to let those trees rest, right? That's what they were willing to do. And also bringing them together and helping to provide needs in the different areas, because in a lot of these areas, the women aren't treated with the same amount of, what would you say, equality as men. And so a lot of women weren't receiving medical care, pregnancies. A lot of babies were dying because they weren't getting the type of medical treatment that was helpful. the girls weren't being educated. And so another thing that they go into when they are working, when they're wanting to partner, is they want to make sure that the people who are harvesting, growing, distilling, that they're taken care of. But they even came in and basically said that they would try to help build a hospital there and schools. And they said that they would not partner if you're not going to educate your daughters like you're going to do your sons. And so a lot of work has gone on there. And something that has come about from that is also learning that there's different boswellia trees and different, what's the word? Species, right? And so the frankincense that we have from doTERRA is from different species of these boswellia trees. And why that's awesome is because you're getting a mixed chemical profile that makes it even more powerful and a synergistic effect by doing that. And it can help so many different ways. So why is it awesome? Like, why do we care? Like, why are these stories important? Why have people been using this for centuries? Why is it so expensive? Like, what is this? What makes it so special? Of all of the oils, this is probably, like they're saying, the king of oils, is because of how well it works on a cellular level, right? If you think about your health, everything that goes wrong in our bodies goes wrong down at the cellular level, whether it's the cell wall or within the cell. If you start seeing breakdown of that, like thinking about cancer, where you're having a something goes wrong and you have this mass production of these cells instead of like stopping and dying, and then let's reproduce some healthy ones, right? There's some kind of cellular dysfunction. And so frankincense has been shown repeatedly how it can help your cells, helps communicate with your cells, help your cells to do what it knows how to do. It helps to support in repairing. It helps with that apoptosis, that self-destruction of the cell, when it's like, hey, you should die off, like your time is here, right? And it can also help with that growing new healthy cells. Like, it triggers so many different things in our body without like the side effects, right? Without the negatives that sometimes come with other alternatives. And so whether that's, we're talking about our brain, or we're talking about our heart, we're talking about our skin, there's just so many ways that frankincense can be used and has been used. So before I jump in and share some of the things from that and just personal experiences, I would love to hear how some of you have been using it. Like, where have you seen it valuable? Why are you taking advantage of this promotion? I mean, a lot of people will just stock up at this time. So tell me your experiences.
I've never used frankincense, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I have read a little bit of the literature that you have on doTERRA, so I'm excited to hopefully get one this month.
Okay, yeah, all right. Anyone want to share a frankincense story or your first frankincense story? I have tons to share, but I want to get your stories.
Yeah, I use frankincense daily, but I don't know that I can talk about it compliantly.
Oh, we'll just delete it.
But I wouldn't
Describe around it.
I have a condition that involves certain types of blood cells, and frankincense seems to be helping maintain the proper balance, or a better balance, in my blood cell differentials.
It's just like I'm talking around it. So how do you feel when it's not optimal?
That's a lot subtler, but because I've been doing this for years. This is a long haul thing. It's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah. Well, and so I think I can share compliantly the story that they shared, like Justin shared. So Justin is one of the first, he is the first distributor from doTERRA. He's called the master distributor. So he's been here since doTERRA formed as a company and had been using essential oils prior to that. And he is like, his favorite oil is frankincense. It's always in his pocket. Like, he has seen the value of it. He's traveled the world, has seen other people's experiences with it, heard them. And so he was actually, it's called the Festival of Trees. It's in Salt Lake City. And so each year, companies and individuals, they will decorate these trees and they get auctioned off for charity, right? So he was down there, their family was decorating a tree, and he saw these ladies, they kept looking over at him. And so when you're in Utah and you've been with doTERRA as long as you have, if there's anybody in doTERRA, they usually, like, if he's walking around, he's kind of like a celebrity, which is weird, you know, like, oh, he's the oil guy. Anyway, so he saw these ladies were kind of looking around and like, so he went over and he started talking to them. And one of them, he recognized and knew, but he also said that he was doing this frankincense webinar with Dr. Hill tonight. So that was on Monday. And she's like, well, tell Dr. Hill hi. He'll remember me, because 15 years ago, I had met him, and she had been dealing with a condition that really altered her life. And the thing that he had told her to do back 15 years ago, and she said that she has been doing it daily since he told her, was to use frankincense. So she was using frankincense on a daily basis. And she proceeded to tell Justin that she's ran 4 marathons since then. And Dr. Hill on the webinar said, I know who you're talking about. And I remember meeting her and having this conversation, and that basically she should have been an invalid, what she was dealing with. And she followed what he had shared with her, and I'm sure, other things. And then he said it was probably like 8 years ago, she had come into his office and just wanted to share her experience, from doing this consistently with frankincense. It was probably for 7 years that she was using it on a daily basis, and just wanted to kind of report into him. And so he's like, I remember her. In fact, she is from California, for my little Californians. And it's interesting how, like, a small little habit that she happened to start doing with frankincense has really helped to support on a cellular level some of the things that she was dealing with, right? It wasn't like life-changing the minute that she took it. It was the small amount consistently over time. And so that's like thinking about, what are some of the things that I have, like cellular dysfunction, and I want some cellular support. Is that with your skin? So I didn't bring it in, but doTERRA has some different forms of frankincense. So we have the 15 milliliter bottle, which you can get free this for December. But it also comes in a roller, so it's already kind of diluted if you want to rub it on topically. But they just came out with a stick. So for those who've used, I wish I had it, the deep blue stick, maybe somebody has it around, but they have a frankincense stick. Yes. Awesome. It's mixed with nyewood. That's how you say it. Nyewood. Whatever. It's awesome. So this would be a topical use of frankincense. So think of how you may want to support your skin cells, right? Or topical cells, or something that you'd apply it topically. So I got my bottle, and one of the habits that I've had with my frankincense is that I will put it around my eyes for eye health, for eye support. Others, might use it for wrinkles and whatever. Like, I don't care too much about that, maybe a little bit, but so that's where I've been putting it. But now I've replaced, and now I do the stick around my eyes. But then I also thought, oh my gosh, I'm around all these people with breast things, and my mom's had breast cancer. Like, well, what if I just made this habit? It's sitting there when I get out of the shower, and now it's a routine that I just take that stick and I apply it on my breasts before I get dressed, yada, yada. Like, I put other things on, I do other things. So I'm like, I'm just going to do this. And so it's like thinking what topically might be helpful, whether that's from the little bottle that you're using. Another thing that I started early on, and this was a recipe that Dr. Hill gave me. It was my first event that I'd gone to. I was dealing with some big issues for myself that weren't going away with traditional solutions. And so I wanted to go learn from him because it was a women's health event, and he was going to be talking about hormones and all this stuff, right? I'm like, that's me. I'm a mess. And I remember going, and one of the things afterwards, because I went up and talked to him, and I told him like, hey, I'm dealing with these things, and this is what I've been doing, and this is what they're telling me to do. And I just, kind of felt like I'm not getting any better, and I'm 35, 36, and I don't want my trajectory from that age to just keep going down, right? Like, how can I switch this? And so he gave me a little regimen. And what that was bergamot, frankincense, and Roman chamomile. And he said, you can either mix it in a bottle, or if you want to open all the lids, but just a couple of drops, and you can put it under your tongue, or you can put it in a capsule because it's not taste good. But that can help with balancing those hormones. That can help with like supporting in that way. Like, holy cow, it tasted nasty. And I was like new to oils. I'm like, I don't know if I like this, and I'm used to my Kool-Aid still back at that time. So this is nothing like Kool-Aid. But I started like, I'm just going to try it. Like, what is it going to hurt me? Right. And that really changed a lot of things for me as far as emotionally, hormonally. And so that's always kind of been my go-to for anybody that has low mood, low energy, a little messy in their hormones. Like, what a great thing from a cellular level, but it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be the consistency of using that. So I was like super grateful that I was able to connect with him at that time, because it really changed a lot of things for me. And he also did say, you need to use the lifelong vitality. And so I started using that, right? Getting my body nutrients, feeding it those nutrients. One of the things that just for those who have been using lifelong vitality to be aware of is that lifelong vitality did have more essential oils in it, right? It had frankincense in it. So for those who have switched over to VMG or thinking of switching over, it doesn't have frankincense into it. So that's where my little bottle is also in my bathroom, because after I brush my teeth, I put a couple of drops under my tongue. The other one that I put under my tongue is Melissa, because I have, if anybody has been diagnosed or like had the test done for Epstein-Barr virus, which if you've had mono or been around somebody that had mono, whatever, like it's a virus that never leaves your body. It can just go into like remission. It kind of hides, and then it will attack. Like if you are tired, stressed, something changes, right? Then it can kind of come out. And so Melissa has been kind of my go-to for that. And so those are my two little habits. Doesn't take a whole lot of time, and they're sitting right there, so I remember. Other things with frankincense, other ways that frankincense can be used, whether you've heard of it or you're doing it, like what are some of those things helpful? Anyone?
Inflammation, joint support.
Yes, so that's a good pairing. A lot of you probably have deep blue. If you want to up level that, add frankincense, right? I remember one of my first classes that I was teaching in California. I didn't know a darn thing. I'd been using it, but I didn't feel like I knew anything. But I just remember somebody said, like, if in doubt, use frankincense or couple this. And I remember I had this lady who came in with like her hands and her knees, just a lot of discomfort. And I said, I don't know if this is going to help, but while you're in the class, why don't you just rub some of this on? And she didn't want to do the deep blue because of the smell. It's, that menthol smell. But for some reason, she loved frankincense. Frankincense smells a little bit different to me. But so she just rubbed on the frankincense, rubbed it on her hands, rubbed it on her knees. And she came to church the next day, and she caught me in the parking lot. And she's like, I have to tell you, my knees feel so good. Like, I don't know what that was. I don't know how that, but my knees feel good. I was like, yes. Now, it's not always like that immediate, but it's fun when you have those experiences. So thanks for bringing that. I just kind of triggered that memory. And then besides the stick, Frankenstick, and the oil, then there's also capsules. So this is awesome. It's the frankincense capsules have frankincense, but they also have boswellic acid. If you go online and you Google boswellic acid, you will find some pretty cool stuff that I can't say out loud. But the combination of the frankincense oil and the boswellic acid together, combined in a capsule, makes both of them more potent, more bioavailable, more usable. Like, if you want to find something that you may want to take on a daily basis, stating like a health habit, especially if you're aging and you have some of these things coming on, that might be one of the things that is a go-to for you. So if you can always jump online and kind of research boswellic acid. Anything else before we kind of wrap this up? Like the best way to get your frankincense for free, which is, I think it's like $78, the whole 78, 74, 79, something. Yeah. So it's not the cheap oil, right? But you can get a free bottle with a 200 PV order. If you can't afford that, go ask your friends, do you want to order anything? Put it on your order, right? Like, hey, on guard. For me, I have people who like things, but maybe they don't want to pay shipping for one little thing, and so they can add it to your order. You're going to get free shipping, and you're going to get up to your 200, so you can get your free frankincense. Or if you want like a second bottle, you could do that. So I've had several people like, wow, their order was $800. So you can stock up on your frankincense. Get creative if like the funding of it is more than you want right now. See if anybody wants to order something with you on your account, like whatever. Get it free. Joanne, you unmuted.
I want to know what's the difference between PB Assist and PB Restore?
Anybody want to answer that?
Well, before we do, I want to make a point about frankincense.
Okay, and then we'll answer that.
And why everyone needs it. Because no matter what you're dealing with, frankincense is just going to help increase the efficacy the way any of the other oils work. So it's always a great thing to pair together. And you'll get better results.
Yep. And so even if it doesn't become a daily use, even though that's what Dr. Hill kept saying, like this should be a daily use, daily use, daily use. Because he did talk about his experience. He didn't mention what it was, but some of us know what it was, that he was diagnosed with something about some years ago, right? And when you're in that position, when you're diagnosed with something, like sometimes you say, I will never do this, or I will do this. And it kind of comes down like, well, what should I do? Right. Because my life is on the line. And he had to come like to the place, like what's best for me, and whatever. And he in private, not online, shares like what he did to get to the place where he is healthy. He does not have, the issues that he was dealing with. And one of the things he just keeps coming back to is frankincense. He's like, I know on a scientific level what it does, but then on an experiential level, seeing not just himself, but millions of other people around the world, as he's just going around and hearing these stories, like story after story about the power of frankincense. So get it in your home, have it there, even if you're not using it every single day, which you may want to. Get it for free. So Joanne, the difference between PB Restore, PB Assist, it really is upgraded technology, but it's upgraded as far as like the amount of different probiotics that are in there. So if you go in, you can go on doTERRA's site and you can pull up both of them and you'll see like the different strains that they've added and why they've added different strains and the amount that's in there, that they've added some things with a postbiotic. So these are, when I say viruses, it always makes me think like viruses, but they help in a different way. They're little parts of viruses that help with digestion. Phages sounds better. It's little parts of things.
Okay.
But it's just because we have new science and data and things to support that they've felt a need to upgrade it. So PB Restore is an upgraded, and the people's experiences with it from like measurable, but also just people experiencing differences when they use it, like emotional health things, which is crazy. Like some of them who were taking it during the study, they had no idea. Like that's not what they were thinking. They were thinking like digestive stuff, right? And a lot of them were like, I can't even tell you like how much better I felt mentally, emotionally from this. So if you want to kind of do a side-by-side, you can go on doTERRA.com and you can see both of them as far as like what exactly is in it. And so if you want to compare there, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. In a way, the PB Assist focuses on gut health. The PB Restore has definitely for gut health, but we have other microbiomes in our system. And so it also contains the probiotics that support the other microbiomes, like our mouth, our lungs, our heart. So it's in some ways looked at as like a more holistic approach to probiotics versus just looking at the gut.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are over time. I'm sorry, but I hope you all take advantage, hopefully, of your Frankincense for free. If you do it on the Loyalty Rewards program, you'll get between 20 and 60 points, depending on how long you've been on it, for a 200 PB order. So you'll get free products for that as well. And then also make sure you just reach out to the person, probably Faye or so, if you want to do the 4-week win, be a part of that, get access to that. She can help you to do that. All right. Any questions or anything before we jump off? Nope. Okay. It was nice seeing all your faces, some of your faces and some of your names.
Like those.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.